Welcome to the North Atlantic News Report. Our mission here is to provide you with the most important facts and insights from the sources you've shared without interpretation.
Indeed, our focus is to give you the news information directly. Remember, opinions should be diverse, facts not.
Exactly. So, let's jump right in. Where should we start? Greenland.
Greenland sounds good. There's some movement on the political front.
Right. The Tacit chairman, Akalu C. Jeremiasen, he's asked for leave.
Yeah, that's right. A 3 to 4 month leave from the municipal council in Avanada Communia starts July 1st.
Okay. And this is for health and personal reasons, it says here.
Correct. But important to note, he's staying on in his other positions.
Ah, so still a member of Inatesertut, the parliament, and still the Tacit chairman.
Exactly. So maybe not a full step back, but, a significant pause in that council role.
Interesting. And sticking with politics, what about Siamit? Their youth wing seemed active.
Oh, definitely. Siamut Youth has nominated Iniki Kielsen for party chairman.
Why now? What's their reasoning?
Well, they feel new leadership is needed if Siamut wants to become the biggest party in parliament again.
Okay. And they had some pretty strong words about the current direction.
They did. They basically said the party is, and this is a quote, following others too slavishly.
Wow. That's quite direct. Suggests some real internal debate there.
It certainly points that way, a push for maybe a more independent course.
Okay. Let's shift gears slightly. There's a new children's advocate.
Yes, Stina Sverd. She starts August 1st, taking over from Aviaja Egedlaned.
And she has a background in social work.
Over 20 years, yeah. The goal is making sure children's rights are practiced and they're heard.
And this comes after the Minister for Children, Youth and Families, Mossy Peterson, voiced some strong concerns recently.
Exactly. Concerns about the state of the social sector, so Sverd's appointment seems, well, timely.
Definitely sounds like a critical role right now. Sadly, there are also some public safety incidents to report.
Yes, unfortunately. In Tasiilaq, a 55-year-old woman died following a stabbing.
And a suspect was arrested.
A 25-year-old woman, yes. And then separately in Nuussuaq, which is in Nuuk,
Right.
2 young women were injured in a firearms incident.
Firearms. Okay. Any arrests there?
5 arrests were made, and the police cordoned off the area for a bit. Serious stuff.
Very serious. Okay, one more Greenland item. Arctic security. There's a new cooperation agreement.
Yeah, this involves Denmark, Canada, Germany, and Norway.
4 nations. What's the focus?
Enhancing surveillance in the North Atlantic, so more monitoring around Greenland, for instance.
And training.
Yes, improving Arctic basic training up in Kangerlussuaq. It's also about, boosting sovereignty assertion over Greenland's territory.
So a clear sign of the region's growing strategic importance.
Absolutely. More eyes on the Arctic.
Okay, let's move over to Iceland. What's the economic picture looking like?
Generally positive, according to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund.
Positive how?
Well, they're saying government moves on fiscal and monetary policy have helped bring inflation down.
Good news. Any recommendations from the IMF?
Yeah, they suggest more infrastructure spending. And interestingly, they float the idea of maybe raising the capital gains tax on properties that aren't owner-occupied.
Trying to cool the property market, maybe?
Could be part of it. Also, inflation did tick up recently to 4.2%.
Oh, what drove that?
Key things were housing costs, international airfares, and hotels and restaurants. So still some pressures there.
Got it. What about humanitarian aid? Iceland's active regarding Gaza.
Yes, they're giving more funding. ISK 150 million extra to UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestine Refugees.
Right.
And ISK 30 million to the UN's Humanitarian Affairs Office. The foreign minister really emphasized UNRWA's vital role.
And there was also an evacuation.
That's right. 16 Gazan residents who have residency rights in Iceland were helped to get to Amman, Jordan.
How'd that work?
Icelandic authorities assisted, working with Finnish authorities too, and they needed permission from Israel. So quite a coordinated effort.
Definitely sounds like it. Okay, education in Iceland. The OECD had something to say.
Yes, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they're calling for significant reforms in Iceland's schools.
Any specific concerns?
They're particularly worried about immigrant children. There seems to be a widening gap in academic performance compared to native Icelandic pupils.
That's a serious flag, isn't it? Potential long-term social impacts there.
It really is something authorities will need to address.
And quickly on law enforcement in Iceland.
Just brief updates. 5 people suspected of organized crime and drug production had their custody extended.
Okay.
And an investigation into an attempted murder from a stabbing in Rake Janesbear is ongoing, with the suspect also remaining in custody.
Right. Thanks. Let's hop over to the Faroe Islands now. Big news about the Commonwealth.
Huge news, potentially. 5 political parties have apparently reached an agreement to transition out of the current Commonwealth setup with Denmark.
Transition out, does that mean independence?
Well, that's the interesting part. There's immediate disagreement on what it means.
Oh, wow. How so?
The Social Democrats are quoted saying it's not independence, but the Republicans are saying yes, it is.
So they agree on the move, but not the destination.
Kind of looks that way. The deal apparently includes cutting ties with the Danish constitution and getting independent NATO membership without paying fees.
Wow. So the details are significant, but the interpretation, well, that's going to be key.
Exactly. A very complex situation unfolding there.
Okay, something completely different. Aquaculture tech. A giant feeding barge.
Yes, the Crosssteiner. It's arrived in Funningsfjord, bought by Bakkafrost. They're calling it the world's largest.
How large are we talking?
50 meters long, holds 1,100 tons of feed. And it's designed for automated remote feeding.
Automated feeding for all the local farms.
That seems to be the plan.
Yeah.
And importantly, it's powered by shore current.
For environmental reasons.
Precisely, a nod to sustainability in the industry. Quite an innovation.
It certainly sounds like it. Also in the Faroes, some Nordic collaboration.
Yeah, the joint fund between Nuuk, Reykjavik, and Tórshavn gave out grants. 300,000 Danish kroner to 9 Faroese projects.
What kind of projects?
Culture, education, sports. The idea is to boost cooperation between the 3 capital cities.
Nice. And briefly, pilot whales.
Yes, a large pod was found near Slayton Estonga, but authorities decided to let them go.
Why was that?
Conditions weren't good for trying to move them, apparently, and there was another recent stranding elsewhere, in Laneham. So, a difficult call.
Understood. Okay, finally, let's touch on Shetland. What's happening there?
2 main things. Firstly, a senior counselor on the Shetland Islands Council is calling for random drug and alcohol testing for all council staff.
All staff. Why the call now?
It follows a report that the ferry service hadn't been doing the required testing since before the pandemic started.
So a compliance and safety issue.
Seems to be the concern, yes. And the other item?
Just a report of a medical airlift. An injured crew member was taken from a vessel near Mid-Yell by the Coast Guard helicopter for treatment.
Right, a standard but important Coast Guard operation.
So that covers the main headlines across the region for this report.
Like and subscribe to PalsFundamentals for more content like this. Sources linked below.